30-second deal.
I figured this out
There.
when I was writing papers.
Oh, that's right.
You can copy something on either one.
Your Vanna.
I can like be
Vanna
on my
White?
phone, like have another document
Okay,
open.
so,
Go on this, copy it on my phone, and then
we
paste
have
it
two that both
onto the iPad.
identical sisters.
It's sweet. It's mind blowing.
Just do both of them. Will they come up together at the same time?
Mr. Eckersley, do you have another
I'm
pen?
gonna have them both of them because they're sisters, so they'll all be up there at the same time.
All right, we'll check.
I'm good at that.
You all right with that, Julie?
We want to call our meeting to order, if we could, please, and welcome you for being with us tonight at our board meeting. We appreciate those that are here in attendance, and we'd like to begin by inviting you to stand where we've asked our student board member, Trevor Nelson, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board, we need to make one adjustment, or actually two adjustments, but the first one is our board recognition. We've got three students with us this evening, but one of them is involved in a school play that needs to get to that play. We recognize the importance of that. So we're going to have just that portion of board recognition, which is our 2022 Spelling Bee winners. And then we'll go to public comment. So I'd like to invite Ms. Barlow to come to the podium.
President Robinson, Vice President Stevenson, Superintendent Newey, and Board. We're excited to present the winners of the 2022 Spelling Bee to you tonight. We had that event on the 17th at Davis High and went for more rounds than I think we've probably ever gone before because they were really good spellers. I'd like to have them running into my English classes right now, I'll tell you. So I'm going to bring up our first place winner is Brooke Powell, and she's from Heritage Elementary. Brooke, what grade are you? Sixth grade, okay. And then our second place winner is Colette Duff from Holt Elementary, and I remember she's a fourth grader. Is that right? Okay. And then our third place winner is Janae Powell. No coincidence there on the name. And she is from Shoreline Junior High, and she's what grade? She's seventh grade. And I'm going to give one shout out to Owen, their brother, who stayed in really well too. He did a great job that night. Okay. But these are the winners for our 2022 Spelling Bee.
Would you young ladies like to say anything before you get your picture taken?
You guys want to make a speech?
No? Well, congratulations.
Would they
We'll-
like spelling?
Yeah.
We'll have you come right over here, Miss Tanner, and Miss Phipps, and Superintendent Dewey have a plaque for you, and then we're going to take a couple pictures.
You're Brooke. Congratulations, Brooke. We're really proud of you. I asked them earlier if they could spell anything, and they said Anything. And Janae, congratulations. We're really proud of you guys. I've been a judge at a spelling contest before. I will never do that again. It's really hard because you guys are amazing. And then, Cheryl.
Colette, this is for you. Colette is a really great young lady. I know her personally. She lives in my neighborhood, and I'm proud of her.
Yes.
Congratulations, y'all.
No, they don't. I know. It's a hard job.
We're going to take the picture. We want to,
Yeah.
Colette, you need to introduce your mom who is here with you and tell you who your dad is. She needs to stand up there.
I don't want to say picture.
Mindy Duff.
Can you introduce your family that's here?
This is my mom and Yeah.
And your brother,
Yes, and my brother.
who's also a good speller. Congratulations.
Thank you. One more round of applause, please. Let me just go over, if I could, the rules of our public comment period. The board shall allow time for public comment at the beginning of regularly scheduled business meetings each month. This period shall not exceed 30 minutes, with individual presentations limited to 2 minutes. Speakers will be shown a sign when they have 30 seconds left and a stop sign when their 2 minutes has ended. Public comment is reserved for speakers who reside within Davis School District unless otherwise noted by the presiding board member. We would like you to provide your name and the topic you wish to address when you come up. Speakers shall be recognized and invited to provide comment by the presiding board member. The public comment period shall not be used to air complaints concerning bidding, contracts, employment, or personnel issues, to criticize or defame district employees or board members, or to make complaints for which other avenues for appeal exist. This period can't be used for public comments regarding individual student education issues, and person speaking shall direct comments to the presiding board member. Members of the board and superintendent may ask questions of any person who addresses the board only upon approval of the presiding board member. And finally, the board is enabled by law to deliberate or take action on items raised during the public comment period that is not otherwise on the board agenda. Tonight we have one individual that signed up for the public comment. We invite Jennifer Brooks to come to the podium, please.
The sole comment. Hi, I'm Jennifer Brooks, and I came to speak on the professionalism or lack of professionalism that I experienced at the Summit workshop on March 15th. As a professional educator who has attended a great variety of education forums, I was greatly disappointed, and as a taxpayer and a parent, I was disturbed and sickened. The board workshop of Summit Learning lacked any level of professionalism. It was void of a solid performance review using empirical data. It was void of a cost-benefit analysis. Yet I know there are people here at the district who can perform those. It was intentionally not performed in front of these honest stakeholders who bring their best children to you for a quality education. And that is wrong. It was void. It cost the district nothing. Yet there was elaboration on the extreme heavy lift of the man hours that it takes to make Summit Learning work in our district. Because it is such a poor tool, it doesn't even accommodate the Utah standards. The district identified 11 points, some of them very heavily loaded, of problems with Summit. These problems were not solved. These are problems because they are decisions that are made in Silicon Valley. Most concerning, this district and board, and I have never seen this before, were united in their language to disregard the mental health of students. You played it off and downplayed it, that the depression and anxiety caused specifically by the Summit platform, which was verified by 15 physicians, was just due to school and extremely unprofessional and uncaring.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Board, we're going to move to our student. We're going to invite the Bountiful High Jazz Combo. We're going to first of all ask Shanda Stanger, our fine arts supervisor, if she would come to the podium and introduce our student performance. Thank you, Ms. Stanger.
And board members and superintendency. I'm pleased to welcome the Bountiful High Jazz Combo. It is made of seniors this year. They will be playing Oh Bountiful, which was arranged by Dr. Shannon Roberts while he was here in Davis School District at Woods Cross. The director is Mr. Danny Turnblom, and I'm going to let him come up and introduce his students so he says their names correctly.
Shanda. We're pleased to be invited to the board meeting tonight and to perform a little bit for you and hope that it's delightful and enjoyable. It's been a great journey at Bountiful High School, and these are wonderful students, and I get to play with them today too, so this will be great. At the drums back in the back, that's Truman Breinholt Mitchell, and at the bass, who's still trying to get his bass stuff put together, there you go, that is Logan Hooker. Playing the tenor saxophone is Sam Arvidsson. Playing the trombone, Soren Torkelson. Playing the alto saxophone, that's Noah Wright. And on trumpet, we have Eleanor Cornish and Emily Larson. This is a jazz version of O Bountiful, our school song.
Before they play, I do also want to just share, over the last 25 years, they've qualified for state and received superior ratings, which is the highest rating you can receive, 21 of those years. So it's a great jazz performance group that they have built there, and they've always done a really great job.
Ms. Mumford from the board has a plaque for your group, Mr. Turnblom, and also Superintendent Newey.
Well, we just want to say a huge thank you. That was a lot of fun, and I don't know how many of you know this, but these guys and their other band and jazz friends were the hottest ticket in town in Bountiful this weekend. They had their annual performance at Fools for Jazz on Friday night, and they just knock it out of the park every time. They're amazing. So thank you. Thanks for a great legacy of band and jazz at Bountiful High, Mr. Turnblom. It's amazing.
Want to just introduce Mr. Aaron Hogue, who's the principal of Bountiful High. Mr. Hogue, would you like to say anything? No, I'm okay. We didn't set him up, but you know, I just was talking to Danny here and thanking him so much for the effort, and Shanda. And these students are reflective of the great performing arts programs throughout the district, and we're so appreciative. We have a great alliance and organization that fosters that, and they collaborate so well, and you students are incredible. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, students, once again. We appreciate you coming and being with us. Sit right there. Our next board recognition is for Miss Bianca Mittendorf, and we're going to invite Dr. Jackie Thompson to come to the podium to introduce this presentation.
Well, thank you, President Robinson, to Vice President Ms. Stevenson, school board members, to our superintendent, and then also I want to acknowledge our community. It's a blessing and privilege to be here with you, and I'm so excited to acknowledge the next presentation and to let you know that we are so proud. I'd like to ask Ms. Bianca Mittendorf if she'll please come forward. Thank you, Ms. Bianca Mittendorf. We are so excited for the work that Ms. Bianca Mittendorf does in Davis School District, as she is our Title IX coordinator for the Department of Office of Equal Opportunity. But she's not only recognized for the work she does here in Davis School District, but across our state and across our nation. Tonight she's being honored for the Archie Archuleta. It's the Civil Rights Award by the Utah Education Association. Out of many candidates, she was selected for the work that she does in civil rights, ensuring that all of our students are treated safely and fairly, equitable. But she continues to do this work and to be honored. So UEA will be honoring you in June, right, Ms. Bianca? And we are excited about this because for one of our own to receive this recognition, knowing that this went out statewide and that she was chosen, it just exemplifies the work that she does across our community. So I just want to say that Ms. Bianca Mittendorf is my shero. She is a champion for our children, and she continues to represent our district and hold up that light high for which we can all be. You can see she has her children here with us, and that they are proud of their mother as well as her husband and her brother. I'll have her introduce them in a moment, but I'd like for Miss Mittendorf to be able to talk to us and share about the work that she does. So would you please come forward? Okay.
All right. Didn't realize there'd be speaking involved. I would not have brought an extra guest otherwise.
The extra guest is what it's all about.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Esteemed board members, superintendent, thank you so much for giving me this space right now. I'm incredibly honored to have received this recognition. I have no words, really. It's just a huge surprise, and I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful to have this opportunity to continue to do this work professionally in the district.
Thank you, Mrs.
Dr.
Bianca.
Thompson and board, let me just add one thing. Board, Miss Mittendorf, Miss Long, Mr. All are fresh off the national conference on diversity in education. What was the title exactly?
It was the ASPA conference, so the American Association of School Personnel Administrators.
Yeah, and they were featured as presenters, and I talked to Mr. All, our director, beforehand, and he just praised their work. And we knew that. We knew that's how it'd go in Chicago. And we are very fortunate to have Miss Mittendorf and Miss Long and all of our people working in our protected classes division, and thank you.
Thank you.
And Miss Mittendorf, would you like to introduce your family?
Oh, yes,
You have a beautiful
absolutely.
family.
So this, my Vivi is right here, my daughter Vivian. My husband Brian has the phone out, thank you. My daughter Maya sitting next to him, and then my other daughter Ella is right there in the pink dress. Maya's waving for everyone.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Well, Bianca, we have a plaque to present to you. Mr. Gerard, on behalf of the board, and Superintendent Dewey will come down and do that. Invite your family to come up as well. We'll take a picture.
All right.
No, we're just really proud about all the work that she's doing in the district.
Would you come join, please?
And on behalf of congratulations, thank you so much for all that you do for our district. And there was a wonderful letter written about you that described you: respectful, professional, very thoughtful, and you honor individual perspectives. And you just do a great job, and we're so proud to have you in our district, and congratulations.
There, thank you very much. Next, we'd like to invite Mr. Astle up, our school director. We want to honor this evening the Viewmont drill team, the 5A state champions. Mr. Astle, if you would, please. Come right down here, ladies.
Right in front. They just keep coming. There's 34 of them. President Robinson, Vice President Stevenson, board members, Superintendent Newey. Tonight it's my pleasure to recognize the Viewmont Vikels, this year's 5A state drill team champions. And Travis Lund, the principal, who's also here tonight, let me know this is the first time in school history to win a state championship in drill. So we congratulate these gals for their efforts and hard work. I'd also like to recognize their head coach, Kayla Bagshaw, and also assistant coach Bailey Hadlock. I just want to recognize Coach Bagshaw, who's also selected as the Coach of the Year, Drill Team Coach of the Year. So we congratulate her for her efforts and hard work. Now, having been around drill team for about 30 years myself, and having 2 daughters participate, I can just assure you that there's no athletic team in the schools that put in more time and effort and spend more time in the gym than the drill team. So, we just congratulate the Vikels for their hard work and accomplishments.
Sorry, President. I just, there's a couple things I'd like to add. Every time we have a state champion, ladies, we get a letter from Director Cuff from the State High School Activities Association. And just a couple of things I wanted you to hear from him. He says, I admire your determination, hard work, and dedication in speaking to your coach, your team, to this outstanding accomplishment. In winning the title, you've reached a milestone in your career that only a small percentage of coaches or athletes ever meet. I am certain the joys and thrills of this feat are well-deserved and gratifying to all of you. For some coaches and athletes, it comes only once in a lifetime. Others are rewarded more. However, I am convinced that each time it happens, it's based on a consummate team effort that cannot be matched by any other sports experience. Former NBA player and U.S. Senator Bill Bradley said it best, no collection of individuals, no matter how good, can be successful unless they form a team. And you all know that better than anyone. It's so critical to rely on teamwork. And, I love what Mr. Astle said about the work that goes into this. And you all know it because you put it in. And never forget the value of teamwork and hard work. So thank you for representing us so well, and we appreciate you guys.
Mr. Astle, let's have Coach Bagshaw and Assistant Coach Ms. Hadlock come up to the podium, see if they want to say a couple things. Actually, we're not going to give them the option. Ladies?
Going to blame the superintendent on this one. We want to hear from you. You are the Coach of the Year.
No. Thanks. I actually feel like I'm talking to you guys, which is kind of funny. But no, honestly, I feel like what was said is super true. This team worked so hard all year long, and I think the coolest part is that we had these goals from day one. So it takes so many hours and so many heads and so many, I don't know, as cheesy as it sounds, like blood, sweat, and tears literally to do this. But I think these girls should be recognized for never giving up, because it really came down to that. Every defeat or every battle or hardship we came across, no matter how big or small, I feel like these girls just remembered the goal and remembered why they were showing up at 6 a.m. every morning, literally, so and putting in all this sacrifice. So they had a goal and they ultimately reached it, and I'm just so proud of them. And honestly, it's just been so fun. And everybody keeps asking me, are you still on a high? And I'm like, actually, yeah. Actually, yeah, I am. I don't know if it'll ever come down. But no, I think we deserve to feel this way, because it's just been so long, and we all just we just worked hard and put in the work. So I feel like we're all very deserving, and I'm just so proud of them. And it's crazy that the year is almost over, but I hope these girls will take this and even moments like this as like a memory to look back on, and feel also very privileged. Like this, letter said that not everybody can say, that we did this. And so, yeah, I love you guys. And thanks for recognizing us tonight. Because you're all great.
Great, thank you. I'm going to stand by Travis. I'm about as tall as Travis. I'll feel a lot better.
Everybody looking here?
Congratulations, Cal.
Board, let's move to our information items, if we could, please. We're going to start by recognizing our student board members, Ms. Kaylee Cardenas and Mr. Trevor Nelson, who tonight this will be their last meeting with us. They've been with us all year. I'd like to invite Dr. Linford, if he would, to come to the podium. And first of all, I think, Dr. Linford, let's give them a chance, if you would, to share any thoughts they might have. Is that okay? We'll do that first.
Yeah, that's great.
Kaylee, would you like to go first?
I really enjoyed this experience, so I'm glad I was able to be on the board. I got to know every single one of the board members, and I love them. Like, I love how passionate they are about our education, and yeah.
Thank you, Kaylee. Trevor?
Yeah, I just echo what Kaylee said. It was a super cool opportunity. When I first got asked by Principal Swanson to do it, I can admit, like, I didn't really know school board was a thing. Like, I knew it existed, kind of, because my grandpa ran for it when I was like 10, but when you're 10, it kind of flies over your head. And like, school board president, like, they're kind of the same thing. Like, there's people in charge. But it's been a super cool opportunity to work with everybody and see all the effort that goes into the students and get to meet all of you amazing people and see that there really are people that care and are doing their best. And so super appreciative for all I've learned and all you guys and friendships and relationships I've made. So thanks.
Thank you, Trevor. I'm going to ask Superintendent Nui to share his thoughts, and then we'll turn the time to Dr. Linford.
Well, I want to just thank both of you, Trevor and Kaylee. You've been outstanding. And it seems like we say that every year, but you have just been phenomenal in terms of what great examples of taking advantage of all the opportunities available to our students that you two have been. And you've led our student officers, our advisory group, and I don't want to steal any of Dr. Linford's thunder because he's done so much to work with that group, and he'll talk about that further. But, you know, I loved it, Trevor, Kaylee's cut it a little closer than you to getting here right before the meeting, but we've seen you up associating with us before board meeting. And Kaylee, I was so impressed with her. One of the first functions we had as a board, it was early in the year, so she didn't really know me, but she brought your cousin. And I walked by and she grabbed her cousin and said, "This is our superintendent." And I don't get that a lot, especially from young students. And I was so impressed that you give, both of you give. And that's what's important in life, is how much you give, not how much you take. And we're grateful for you. So thank you.
Dr. Linford, as you know, has been selected as our new superintendent to be taking over in July. But one of the things I can easily say without even asking him is this is one of the big things he'll miss in his current role as a school director, is working as closely as he does with these student board members and other students in leadership situations. So with his role in working with Trevor and Kaylee, we've asked him this evening if he would to take some time, and he's got a couple things to present to him as well. Dr. Linford.
I do. Thank you, President Robinson, Vice President Stevenson, Honorable Board. And when I say that, whenever I introduce these two, I always introduce them to the other students as my boss. And you have a lot of kids kind of ha, and I said, no, really, they're really kind of my boss. So, and you know, it just in their comments, their goodness and their kindness speaks for them. They speak so well for themselves. But let me tell you, it's incredible, and it's so important that we continue to have student voice. And I just am so grateful for a board that says, let's get 2 students on this board, and let's have voice and input. And the same can be said for our Student Advisory Council, something Superintendent Newey has grown in scope. And because I'll say to them what we say to the student board members, they can go places that we can't go. We can't go to the spaces where they can go and do the work that only they can do where they can do it. So grateful for these two, because I don't want to say this, but for some teenagers, this is a long, boring meeting. Not for these guys, but these two show up and do the work, and just appreciate them. And it says a lot about each of you that your principals had hundreds to choose from, and they selected you. And if there's anybody on this planet that can recognize greatness among students, it's your principals. So grateful for them for selecting you. And we just have a small token that hardly expresses our gratitude for you and for the time you spent in dedication to the district and to your fellow students. But just a few tokens, if you.
We're going to go down board, if you would, please. Mr. Carter, join us. All right, Board, we'll move to our next item under information, which are committee reports, beginning with Ms. Stevenson with the foundation update.
I just have 3 or 4 things. First of all, a thank you to our partners at Chevron for sponsoring, do I say it right, Loyola or Loyola? Loyola. Okay, I did it both ways, so I've covered it. But that project event for our administrators, ADs, and coaches on Monday, April 25th at Megaplex, I had the privilege of being there, and what a great night. Inspiring evening, and it definitely will improve and change our practices and interactions with our students. I was just inspired as I watched what we as educators can do to touch the lives of those people that we serve and those young people. So great evening, and thanks Chevron for that. Our future teacher program grew by 2 this last month as Foundation honored 2 Clearfield High students on April 29th. A Latinos in Action class was visited, and 2 four-year scholarships were given to 2 of our students there. Imagine that, 2 four-year scholarships, awesome. We're excited to see what the future holds for those students. Several donors were involved in that. On April 30th, Young Power Sports held a community event at their Layton and Clearfield locations to gather supplies for our teen centers, face painting, zippies, bike races, and balloons. Incredible free family event that raised over $10,000 for our teen centers. Thank you, Young Automotive, for investing and encouraging that. On Friday, April 29th, I talked a little bit about Derek and Becky Porter last month, but they attended Woods Cross High School Assembly and donated their $100,000 check for the teen centers. If you haven't met that couple, they talk about inspiring people. They're an amazing, generous couple. They are great examples in our community. And Derek Porter, as he awarded that $100,000 check, shared 3 life lessons with the students. And these are the 3 lessons, and they're good for all of us to hear. First, people matter. Second, time matters. And third, you matter. Derek's sister passed away this last year of an undiagnosed heart condition, and so it was fragile and tender to hear him speak of that. Time is short on this life, and he made sure that our students knew how fragile it was that day. Inspiring and heartfelt example of good people. 3 quick calendar reminders. May 19th, Teacher of the Year presentation. You will be notified as to what school and what time in the near future. And May 20th is Lagoon Employee Appreciation Night. Jody, I see that there's some flyers out on the end of there. Do you want us to do something with those? Or Trevor's now demonstrating. There you go. So put that on Lagoon Employee Appreciation Night, but it's not a night anymore. It is from noon until 10 o'clock on that day. June 8th is my all-time favorite. Not my husband's, but mine. The Spring Gala at the Megaplex in Centerville. So definitely put that on and bring your checkbook that night. So thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Ms. Stevenson. Ms. Gerard, report on USBA, please.
Okay, I just, I will send you this by email too, but I just wanted to remind you of a few important dates. Excuse me, the first one is May 19th, and that's at 7. We're going to have a professional development Zoom webinar, and that's going to be presented by Casey Wright, who's an attorney, and that's on social media and the law. And then, excuse me, on June 23rd at 7, we'll have a follow-up to that professional development by Mr. Wright also, and that's just going to be complete question and answers for him about social media, how it works, what we need to be careful of, things to do and things not to do. August 26th and the 27th, pre-delegate assembly and delegate assembly, and we've talked about these before. That will be held in the Canyons District again. December 3rd is tentatively the new board member training, and that will be held in Provo again, and that more information will be coming on that for our new board members. And I have mentioned this again, before, but I wanted to mention it again. So the USBA Master Board Award, which has been shortened, the acronym to MBA, is going to be changed to USBA MB certification, so Master Board certification. So that website is available. It's USBA, and I will send you this, -mb.com. And on that website, anyone can go in there and see who has been trained on the USBA training program. So it turned out to be kind of a hot topic of conversation with some of the legislators that we were working with during this last legislative session. And they actually, and I know I have mentioned this before too, but did a commendation on the floor of the Senate, recognizing board members who have done that training. Just wanted to let you know that the not everything has been updated, so the links that we've been using to do the MBA program are still valid, and some of those changes will be coming. So it's never too early to start working on that. But also, we want to make sure that our information on the USBA website is all up to date. So if you have changed your cell phone number recently, which I don't think you have, or an address or anything like that, then let the USBA office know or myself so we can get that updated. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Gerard. Let's move to our superintendent report. Superintendent Newey, we'll turn the time to you.
Great, thank you, President. Board would like to just run through a few items that you may not be aware of. First of all, in our Latinos in Action program at West Point Junior, we want to recognize Lindsey Brown and Junior Vasquez, second and third place in West Point's annual Why I Love My City essay contest. So that came as what appears to be a project with Mr. Bradshaw's group out at West Point Junior in their Latinos in Action. Also, further honors for Latinos in Action students at the Weber State University LIA competitions. Short film, first place, Radley Bradshaw, West Point Junior High. Visual arts, second place is Janeth Amaya, Northridge High. And third place Elizabeth Astroga Luna, Mueller Park Junior High in the writing competition. No, in the writing competition, second place was Haley Tovar, Davis High. And performing arts, first place was Yami Campos, Woodcross High. And third place, Syracuse High LIA class choreography. Also want to point out, Board, Joy Reed at Syracuse High, who is our LIA advisor, was honored with the Latinos in Action Teacher of the Year Award at that festival. Joy does an incredible job. I believe they still have the biggest chapter in the district. Is that correct, Mr. Zerwakin? Yeah. So Joy, and affectionately, I know I've heard them before, they call her Mama Joy. And we are so appreciative of her work there. The University of Utah Board of Trustees announced that our own Dr. Jackie Thompson will be honored with an honorary doctorate degree from the university this year. I think that's worthy of a round of applause, yeah. Dr. Thompson. This, of course, will be her second doctorate, and we've already informed her it doesn't come with a pay increase. But Dr. Thompson is so deserving, and such an honor to feel her esteem of colleagues that we feel every day, but her work goes on and on. So we appreciate that. Two of the 2022 Wasatch Front Region Sterling Scholars finalists hailed from Davis School District. Miss Shelby McDonald from Viewmont High was named a State Sterling Scholar in Dance. And Stella Wadsworth from Viewmont High received the state runner-up in English. So congratulations to Viewmont High. I think Mr. Lund got out of here before we hit him with that. Mr. Astle, if you'll pass that on to him. Syracuse High student Christian Rojas was named the District Multilingual Student Learner of the Year. Mr. Dave Pendergast from Ellison Park Elementary, our principal there, has been elected to serve as the Vice President of the Utah Association of Elementary School Principals. So that's a very esteemed group, and we appreciate Mr. Pendergast's leadership. Several Davis School District students received top awards in the Rickey Science and Engineering Fair and will compete at International Science and Engineering Fair. Josh Hilbig, Farmington High. Glenn Thanaphone Shields, Syracuse High. Sabrina DeBello and Fletcher Murray, Woods Cross High. Brady Hill and Mason Hymas, Shoreline Junior High. Donnell Isaacs, West Point Junior High. Mrs. Lund is she still here? There she is. Jody. Jody knows full well from her time as science coordinator how difficult this is, and but how what a great opportunity it is. These students will, and that's directly attributed to, one, these students' work and their family support, but also we appreciate Mr. Grover and Dr. Toon's work and Ms. Cook's leadership in teaching and learning to make that happen. 2 high school seniors from Davis School District were selected the outstanding career technical education students in the state. Macy Jensen, Bountiful High, and Chloe Davis at Syracuse High each received scholarships awards from the Utah State Board of Education for their CTE endeavors. And Board, I can tell you that is a significantly competitive scholarship, CTE, that the CTE organization rewards. Want to just also, you'll see the news release. I think we have that on your desk. If not, we'll get it to you. We won't go through all the names of our Best of Davis award winners, but there's 45 of our finest educators, support staff, as well as a couple of administrative recognitions in there. So congratulations to all of those that have achieved that honor. Want to just next move to the listed item. First of all, let me go back one. It's a great time of year for all of our groups to achieve honor, and we want all of our people to know from the district and especially at the school level. You can see with the performance tonight, it takes a lot to culminate performances and get to competition and so forth, and we're so appreciative of the work that goes into all of that. So thank you to all for your work there. Next, want to turn some time to Dr. Toon. We would like to report tonight, Board, on the assignment and accounting we were going to give of our follow-up with our summit workshop meeting. Want to first thank for Dr. Toon and teaching and learning for their extreme professionalism that has in addressing the concerns about Summit. We want to express to our schools a thank you for their extreme professionalism in their work, putting together and offering a great personalized learning program and their continued work there. So Dr. Toon.
Thank you,
Dr.
Superintendent
Toon,
Newey.
before you begin, just a reminder, Ms. Mumford had made the suggestion, which was agreed upon, that that within, as Superintendent Newey had indicated on March 15th, that within a couple months, a report could come back, which is this evening. But Ms. Mumford, as I wrote down, the 2 things that you wanted to see addressed was, one was to define an adoption process for any future schools, and secondly, to look at an independent study with the Summit Learning Program. And I know in reading the literature or the document that you sent us tonight, I think that's basically it.
That's correct.
The things that you've looked at. So Dr. Toon, we'll turn the time to you.
Thank you, President Robison, Vice President Stevenson, Superintendent Newey, Mr. Carter, and Board. On March 15th, you'll remember we spent a good long time answering questions and asking questions and studying and understanding the Summit Learning Program. As we recommended and discussed options, 2 of the things that we said we'd report back on are just as President Robison mentioned. Number 1, process by which schools would have a very well thought out and strategic approach should they choose to adopt Summit Learning as a platform for their personalized learning initiatives in the school. A draft of that process was delivered to the board in the board agenda packet, and it is a draft. It's I don't know if this is proper usage, but it is drafty, means we still have to do some work on it. Of note, and probably of permanent structure in the document is it a 2-year preparation process, and then some details on what schools need to do during that implementation year. So beginning 2 years in advance of the planned implementation, who are the stakeholder groups we need to be visiting with? What information do we need to obtain? What teacher training do we need to begin providing? What philosophical elements of personalized learning need to be present in the school, or do we need to begin developing? Those kinds of explanations and aspects are in there. In the next section, the 1 year prior to implementation, those same steps are outlined with more detail and kind of that more immediate approach. Again, we want to make sure that everything is covered in terms of content relative to the district standards, alignment and state alignment, and those kinds of things as well. And then the implementation year is likely the place where we still have the most work to do, and because we need to still get ongoing input from our school people that have been through the implementation already about what training might need to be present, what kind of parental support, what kind of student support do we need to look for. I think there's also some work that we need to do in IT systems and communicating progress to parents and things like that that we'll be putting on that, at least maybe in this section or maybe in another section about ongoing working items to create an environment where the system communicates well to parents and students what they're doing. That was the first item. That update is just for you to review. We're in the process on that. We'll continue to tweak and hone and get feedback and input on the process. Our hope is to be able to have a sound process that's well reviewed and accepted by all as they move forward to move that direction. To date, I still do not have any other updates on schools that are interested in proceeding beyond those ones that we discussed on March 15th. The second item that I was asked to report on and move forward with is an independent program evaluation for Summit Learning. The theory behind this we talked a little bit about on March 15th, but I'll review just for the sake of those that are listening to the discussion today. Our intent has always been to have a top tier personalized learning system for our schools. And that intent, in some ways, we feel like is being delivered, as we outlined when we met in workshop. In some ways, we feel like we have some areas that we need to work on, as outlined in workshop. Much of the conversation surrounding Summit has been heated and based on information from lots of different sources. And one of the things that we feel very strongly about is that we could gather data. We could put together analyses and summaries of analyses and deliver them to the board and the community, and we feel that we could deliver a quality type of analysis. But we want that analysis to be trusted in the community. And so in order to accomplish that, we feel like we need to do it through an independent lens. Someone who might say, who can't be accused of trying to promote the existing programs, but someone who can come in from the outside and just say, look, I'm a professional evaluator, I know data, I know surveys, I know how to measure programs, and here are the results of the outcomes of the program. So that's
and let me interject, Dr. Toon, board, just for your information and for moving forward, that's strictly to establish third-party independence rather than our feelings and support of what's happened in teaching and learning. We have great professionals with experience that get multi-levels of feedback. And we presented that regularly and repeatedly to the board, and we'll continue to do that, that establish these educational programs. And so that's not, we want to make it clear from an administrative point of view that this is to do service to our community rather than in regard to our confidence in the program, and the third-party evaluator provides that. Is that accurate, Dr. Tim?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In no way is our looking for independent evaluation a reflection on our opinion of the work that's been done by our schools or our departments in support of this already. Simply to create that sense of understanding in the community that the results can be trusted. So our intent on that as we move forward is to do a pretty comprehensive look at what we're accomplishing, to say what did we set out to accomplish in the implementation of Summit Learning? and then measured what we actually accomplished relative to what we intended to accomplish. Program evaluations, if they're done properly, they're not yes/no questions. You know, we're not going to ask the program evaluator to answer one question, should we keep Summit or not? That's a far too complex and loaded scenario, and it would be, frankly, a waste of the resources that we utilize in procuring the services of this professional. And so we're going to dive deep into our practices to identify those powerful practices that we have, to identify any gaps that we have, and identify what can be done to address those gaps. We anticipate that the program evaluation will include discussions with school leaders and teachers, discussions with parents and students, comprehensive surveys of students, community, including parents, staff, faculty, and all of those designed by our evaluators. That they will also include a look at student outcome data, graduation rates, credit earning rates, grade, GPA, those kinds of things that matter, that can serve as an indicator of whether we're achieving the intended outcomes. And also to bring to bear some of the research and literature that's been conducted on professional learning, about what kinds of professional learning we should be providing to our teachers, how a school, what personalized learning is, and Summit as a tool for providing that. We probably won't spend much time in the independent evaluation about questions that we already know the answer to. Questions like the ownership structure of Summit Learning, whether it's owned by Facebook or not, some of the data privacy provisions, which we already have assurances from all of the appropriate organizations and agreements and contracts. So those kinds of things, we don't necessarily need an external evaluator to come in and spend time and resources measuring those. We're going to focus primarily on intended academic outcomes and actual academic outcomes, as well as experiential data. Are people having the kinds of an experience that they should be having in our schools? That type of a study is comprehensive and needs to be done professionally. Most of the time, organizations that do this type of research are attached to a university. They bring that research methodology, data, that kind of stuff. They also can be done, there are other professional groups that provide the same service. Here's where we are in the process of that. We've done some preliminary planning meetings with a couple of experts in the field who at some point may propose their services to us through the process. In those meetings, we've identified that the scope of this study is going to be probably the duration of at least 1 year, perhaps even a little bit longer, in order to identify those longitudinal data points as students make progress from junior high to high school or from high school into post-secondary studies. And so the cost of this evaluation is still yet to be determined. Our intent is to put an RFP, request for proposals, out to future potential bidders on that, like we do with our other procurement processes. Our purchasing department currently is seeking model requests for proposals that have been used by organizations for similar types of studies. We'll look at those models. We'll kind of get a sense of how the RFP process works from those. We'll convene a group to identify and draft the RFP, and then we'll put it out for bid. And then we'll follow all of our appropriate purchasing procedures, which include whether bidders qualify by virtue of their criterion that's outlined in the RFP, as well as cost, to try and minimize the cost to the district. There will be some cost, and it will likely be a significant cost to the district to carry this out. I will make sure that our superintendent is aware of that and approves it and communicates that information to you as a board, so you're aware of what that cost bears. So that's an update on where we are on our program evaluation, as well as our process. So thank you. That's all I have today.
Ms. Tanner?
Just quickly, thank you so much for your work on this, Dr. Toon, and for coming back in a timely manner and reporting back on things as they're progressing. So, and I appreciate the procedural document of how a school would go about, you know, a good long process of involving lots of stakeholders and figuring out if that's the right thing for their community or not. I don't, you know, there's, as I understand it from the state level, there's encouragement for schools to work towards PCBL. And I don't think we're saying with this document that Summit is the only platform or method that schools could use to work towards PCBL. They could, I think it's because Summit is so all-inclusive, it's a document just to support a school in that process should they choose to move towards Summit. But they are still free to use other methods and platforms should they choose to move towards that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
We appreciate that comment, Ms. Tanner, and in fact, we are moving towards that. That is, if you look at the portrait of a graduate and all the work the state's doing, PCBL is the direction of the State Office of Education, and we intend to lead out on that. We intend to support that leading out and do all we can to shore up training, et cetera, but we intend to be in lockstep with the state's move towards that. In fact, we are continually working with them to help develop that.
Yeah, thank you. And then just secondly, a lot of, from the March 15th workshop, there were a lot of comments about putting in school level supports. And I don't think you're prepared to share what's going on with those, but at some time I'd really appreciate hearing back on what school level supports are being put in, just examples of what's going on.
Okay. If I may, many of those school level supports were discussed by our principals at our discussion on March 15th. There are many, and the schools are supporting students. If that's a direction the board would like to go, I'd be happy to provide that report. I do believe that likely most of the information that I would share in that report is similar to the information that was discussed on March 15th at this point.
Well, I think there were just comments made about, changing and improving the PFAs and that kind of things, work that's been done since
Okay,
the
I
board
understand
workshop.
that.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense, and I could provide an update on that. It would likely be at a later date than now.
Yeah, no, that's great. That sounds great.
The
Thanks.
progress hasn't been sufficient enough to provide a report right now.
Exactly.
Other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Toon. Appreciate it. Thanks, Superintendent. Board, we're going to move to consent items. Are there any consent items that you want more information on or would like to move to a business item? Then a motion, if you would, please, to approve consent items 1, 2, and 3.
I'll make motion that we approve consent items 1, 2, and 3.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ms. Stevenson, second by Ms. Gerard, is to approve consent items 1, 2, and 3. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you. We'll move to our business items. The board calendar for the month of May, June, and July. As you've reviewed this, board, is there any changes to that calendar?
Can we just have, add those two professional development days, the May 19th and June 23rd? And I'll get that to Victoria.
Okay, so we would add in the month of May, May 19th and May 23rd, the USBA webinar.
Yeah, professional development and webinar.
Any other adjustments to the calendar? And a motion to approve the calendar for May, June, and July with the addition of the USBA webinars on May 19th and 23rd, please.
I move that we approve the May, June, and July 2022 calendars for board events with the addition of a Zoom webinar with USBA on May 19th and June 23rd.
Right.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Mumford, second by Ms. Stevenson. Ms. Mumford, did you say June 23rd?
I did. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Ms.?
correct.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought it
correct.
was May.
Yeah,
Thank
they're
you.
May
a month
19th
apart.
and June 23rd.
Thank
yeah.
you. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of approving the board calendar with those two additions, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. My discussion with Dr. Oster regarding the Head Start, Early Head Start report, there is nothing in addition to the report that we received in our board packet. So I would recommend that we make a motion to approve the Head Start, Early Head Start report.
I'll make the motion to approve the Head Start, Early Head Start report.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Phipps, second by Ms. Tanner, is to approve the Head Start, Early Head Start report. Discussion on that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. We'll move to item 3, the resolution to create a local building authority, and we'll turn the time to Mr. Carter.
Thank you, President. As you recall, Board, in our last workshop, Mr. Leffel and I discussed the option of creating a local building authority for the purpose of starting the West Point Elementary School a year earlier than a bond would allow us to do. Based on your willingness to look at this option, we have before you tonight a resolution which would create the legal entity, the local building authority, under the direction of the Board of Education. We would also be able to sign the Articles of Incorporation, which would include each of you as members of the Local Building Authority Board. And what that will do is then be submitted to the Lieutenant Governor's office for recognition by the state as a legal entity. And in future meetings, we can establish bylaws and elect officers of the Local Building Authority, which would then approve any issuance of bonds if we chose to go in that direction. So with that, I will answer any questions or ask for your support in that.
Why don't we, as you look at in your board book, under item 3, the resolution to create, there is suggested language for the motion, which I would suggest we have the motion and then a discussion with any questions you might have for Mr. Carter. So a motion, do you have that, one of you?
I move we adopt a resolution providing for the creation of a local building authority by the Board of Education of the Davis School District and related matter.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ms. Stevenson, second by Ms. Gerard, to adopt a resolution providing for the creation of a local building authority by the Board of Education of the Davis School District and related matter. Discussion on that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. That will take us to item 4, Mr. Carter.
Thank you. Related to the construction of the new elementary school, under the direction of Mr. Payne and Mr. Turner, we've gone out with a solicitation process to select a general contractor, a general construction manager, general contractor for this new project. And after the evaluation process, it's recommended that Hughes General Contractors be selected as that CMGC.
I move that we accept Hughes General Contractors as the CMGC for the new elementary in West Point.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Eckersley, second by Ms. Tanner, is to accept the Hughes General Contractors as the new elementary CMGC contractor. Discussion on that motion. Ms. Phipps?
Let me just say how exciting it is for us to be able to move forward. This will be really appreciated and needed in this area.
Any other discussion? Again, the motion is to approve the Hughes General Contractors as the new elementary CMGC contractors. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes, Mr. Carter. Thank you. We'll turn now to item 5, Mr. Carter, the Viewmont High School structural repair.
Yes, President. So some of you who are familiar with Viewmont High know there is a, Dr. Linford could tell me exactly where it's at, but it's a restroom that is just off between the gymnasium and the outside parking lot. That floor has, the subsurface is sunk and the floor is caving in. So it's our proposal to bring in Wasatch West Contracting to shore that up and repair the floor, which will eventually become the teen center at Viewmont High School.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid by Wasatch West Contracting for $180,101 to perform the structural repair at Viewmont High School.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Gerard, second by Ms. Stevenson, is to award to Wasatch West Contracting for $180,101 for the Viewmont High School structural repair. Discussion on that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Board, I would ask that we postpone item 6 to a future board meeting. This is dealing with Woods Cross High School. Could I get a motion to postpone item 6?
I move that we postpone 1G6, Woods Cross High School tennis court, until future board meeting.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Tanner, second by Ms. Phipps to postpone the item dealing with Woods Cross High School tennis court. Discussion on that motion? I would mention that this is at the request of Mr. Carter, our business administrator, who asked that we do this for some additional information that he'll bring to the board in the near future. Any other discussion? Again, the motion is to postpone item 6, Woods Cross High School tennis court. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Mr. Carter, item 7, Central Davis Junior High canopy replacement.
Yes, thank you, President. So we have on the, it's the southwest area of Central Davis, the canopy that covers the entrance to the school is falling apart. And so kids coming to or from the school from the gymnasium usually use that entrance. So it's our request that we go ahead and replace that over in the next few months, having it ready for the fall. And it's our recommendation that we award that again to Wasatch West Contracting in the amount of $195,060.
I move that we accept the bid from Wasatch West Contracting for $195,060 for the Central Davis Junior High canopy replacement.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Eckersley, second by Ms. Mumford, is to award to Wasatch West Contracting for $195,060 for the Central Davis Junior High canopy replacement. Discussion on that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Mr. Carter, you have enough energy? One more? Item number 8.
I'll limp to the finish line here, I hope. So those of you who have had the opportunity to go to the Catalyst Center, which I believe all of you have, I believe, you see what an amazing building it is. Truly, it's one of the best things that we've done in our district in the recent years. Throughout, in the middle of that project, actually toward the end of the project, we made a decision in discussion with Mr. Reed and his team, Dr. Toon, and Mr. Welk to upgrade the AV system in that in the Catalyst Center. You see that with the large screen that's in the upstairs room, which is not, originally it was designed to be several TV monitors. Now it's one large LED screen, and as you can tell by the resolution, it's an amazing add to that building. Did the same thing at F2 in the training room there. But because of that, we need to come back and raise the guaranteed maximum price since that cost caused us to go over just a bit. So we're adding $89,180 to the guaranteed maximum price of the Catalyst Center. The new guaranteed maximum price will be $7,925,442.
I move that we raise the guaranteed maximum price at the Catalyst Center for the electrical work that needed to be done there, and that it be raised $89,180 to the new maximum price would be $7,925,442.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Eckersley, second by Ms. Tanner, is to raise the new guaranteed, or to raise the guaranteed maximum price at the Catalyst Center for the required electrical work with the addition of $89,180, bringing the guaranteed maximum price to $7,925,442. Discussion on that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Mr. Onofrio, can we invite you to the stand, please? We'll first deal with policy 5S-001, enrollment options for students on our first and final.
Thank you, President, Superintendent, members of the board. This session brings us a few changes, and we'll probably be doing that for a few months. The changes required by state law in this policy, the first one would be that the early enrollment period is pushed back to a couple weeks. That was a requirement by HB 380. State law also requires the district now to give priority to military service members' children in accepting open enrollment applications. And finally, a new law makes it easier for the district to retain children of service members even when the enrollment cap for that school has been met. So all around good things. This has been brought to you from the policy committee with a favorable recommendation for its approval on first and final.
I move that we accept the policy changes to 5S-001, enrollment options for students on a first and final reading.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Mumford, second by Ms. Stevenson, is to accept the changes to 5S-001, enrollment options for students on a first and final reading. Discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Mr. Onofrio will go to policy 4I-002, graduation requirements, school credit, on our first and final.
This change also comes to us from the legislative session. A bill was passed this session that requires schools to allow student members of Native American tribes to wear symbols of their tribal membership during graduation ceremonies. And it comes from a favorable recommendation from the policy committee to pass that on first and final.
I move we accept 4I-002 graduation requirements, school credit updates on a first and final reading.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Tanner, second by Ms. Phipps, is to approve policy 4I- the updates to policy 4I-002, graduation requirements, school credit, first and final reading. Discussion?
We'd already been doing that, hadn't we? It seems like the graduations I'd been to, we already were allowing that.
One of the things that we've tried to do is maintain some autonomy at the school level, but while adhering to a district, we want the graduation ceremony to be reflective of all students and their opportunity and their accomplishment. However, this has now been placed in state law, so
We may see it more.
well, it's just it's a good thing. You know, it's a lot of difficulty on our school leaders in terms of, you know, trying to maintain for everyone, but yet honor the tradition and diversity of others. Of each individual. So this gives us a great opportunity that the state has taken a leadership role on.
Other discussion? So policy 4I-002, graduation requirements, school credit, first and final. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Mr. Onofrio will go to policy 2HR-301, the new exit survey policy on a first reading.
Great. This is a brand new policy, so we'd have to read this twice. This also comes as a requirement in state law, and this policy prescribes the process by which the district offers to exiting educators a survey to learn more about their experience in teaching. The policy also describes how those records are kept confidential and anonymous. And finally, I just need to call out an error here in sections 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 that should read, the district shall administer public education instead of the Human Resources Department, just because it's more than one department that handles that. And we'll have that fixed for you by your second reading. This comes with a favorable recommendation from your policy committee, and we recommend that it gets passed on first reading.
Board, one thing to add to that before the vote's taken, Ms. Jensen and our HR department has done exit surveying for years. We've recently, we've progressively refined that with our electronic separation process through our tech services. which has been beneficial. But now, again, this, as Mr. Onofrio has described, is state law, but it doesn't. I don't want the board to think that we've been devoid of data on exit survey, because we've been doing it for years, and appreciate Mr. Zerbakken and Ms. Jensen's leadership on that.
Ms. Gerard? We had a motion?
No, I'm going to move right now.
Okay.
I move that we pass 2HR-301, new exit survey policy on first reading.
Do we need to mention the changes from HR to Davis School District? That'll be done. Okay.
We'll have it changed for your next reading.
Yeah,
so.
for the second reading, we'll have it, so I think.
I'll
we're
second
okay.
that.
So motion by Ms. Stevenson, second by Ms. Gerard to approve policy 2HR-301, new exit survey policy on our first reading. Discussion? Ms. Mumford?
Yeah, my question goes along with what Mr. Newey discussed. Because we have been doing exit surveys, are those requirements that are outlined in Section 3 based on our current practice, or were those part of the new code?
So this is in state law.
Okay.
But it's also our practice.
So it's kind of a merge.
Both is yes to
Okay.
both.
Other discussion? Mr. Eckersley?
Well, I think it's a great idea to do exit surveys, and I think we, because we've gotten this direction from the state, we've already been doing that, but to keep working on it and improving that, I think that is a great way to get information we need to find out where our strengths are, where our weaknesses are, and so I hope we can continue to move forward and make this a valuable part of our progress in the Davis School District.
Any other discussion? So board, the motion is to approve policy 2HR-301, new exit survey policy on a first reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thanks, Mr. Onofrio. We'll move to board reports. Trevor and Kaylee. Kaylee, let's start with you. Anything additional to add?
I don't think so. Just getting ready for graduation in a couple weeks. It's just kind of sad. I don't know. It's been a while. And then just getting ready for college.
That's great. Well, we appreciate you. Trevor, anything?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Getting ready for graduation, which is wild that it's happening. Exciting. Kind of sad. That's pretty much it. Just end of year stuff. Senior cotillion, state track. I'm gonna miss board meetings, but
You can always stream them.
I can always.
Yes.
So they'll always be there
Or you
for me.
could always come sit in the audience, for sure.
Public comment every month. Glad we still have the SAC final thing. So.
It's hard to stream those burritos, though. Right? Mr. Eckersley, anything to report?
We went to Crestview Elementary last week, and that is one of our Title I schools. It's also one of our older schools. It's also one of the elementaries that I went to. I went to about 3 of them in the school district. And what an amazing job they are doing there. And in fact, we gave an award to one of the custodians there because of the great work that he does in the school. Even though it is an older school, it was bright, it was cheery. You felt happy being in there, and I just think they are doing a great job there at Crestview Elementary, so I applaud them for the work that they do.
Add President and Mr. Eckersley to that. Mr. Greg Mudrow is our interim principal there.
Yeah.
And he's only, this is his first year as an intern, and has stepped into that role and just done a remarkable job. Miss Heidi Miners has stepped in. If you'll remember, she was our Latinos in Action specialist, and she's done a fantastic job of supporting Mr. Mudrow, who has just been outstanding. And like Mr. Eckersley said, that was just so great to get the Mr. Carter, the general custodian, an award, and we left there. Maybe this is what you're going to say, Mr. Ard, so go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say the name. No.
Still in the
Ms.
thunder.
Tanner?
Yeah, just appreciated being able to be at the ribbon cutting for the Catalyst Center, and so impressed with the teachers, with the students. They were so energized about their work that they're doing, the projects they're working on. And I heard tell that there's a petition going around there because they want to go to school on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So they're doing something right.
Just a couple quick things from me. Both have to do with elementary programs at Columbia Elementary. I've got a third grade grandson and a kindergarten granddaughter there, and I attended some programs, year-end programs. And they both had a real focus on social and emotional learning, being kind to other people, being accepting. And I made the comment to Superintendent Newey that what I saw, particularly with that third grade program, really should be viewed by everybody, all of our employees, all of our students. I just can't believe how powerful that was coming from those third graders, and certainly a credit to those teachers. I thought Mr. Denholler said something really appropriate in the kindergarten program before it started. He said, you're not going to go to too many programs where you see adult ladies laying on the floor, kneeling on the floor, directing these kids, but these teachers will do anything for these kids and anything for them to have an opportunity to excel the way they did. But great indication of what goes on in our schools on every single day. So I was so pleased with what I saw, but also recognize that that's going on in every school. Very much appreciated, Ms. Stevenson.
Amen to that. I love a school program. I too enjoyed the ribbon cutting. So nice to be there with many of you and finally see the cutting, the opening of that, although we've had many meetings and been there a lot. Kaylee, I'm looking forward to graduations too. You get to go to one. Most of us go to 4 or 5 of them, so it is a long few days for us. I do want to express my appreciation to both of you, though. You've been faithful board members here. Stayed awake during them, participated, and you bring a great perspective to our school board, and we will miss you and express good luck to you and your future goings on. Did we ask what their plans were and I missed it? I know Kaylee's looking forward to Weber State, okay. Go Weber. Trevor?
First, I'm serving a 2-year mission in Santiago, Chile.
Oh. Well, congratulations and good luck in the future to both of you. This week, as we all know, is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I'd be amiss if I did not recognize the good teachers in this school district. But today is actually National Teacher Appreciation Day. And I know we have a few teachers in our audience, so if you could stand up and we could recognize you and give you a hand, we would. So, come on, teachers, be proud of that role. So there we go.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Mr. Gerard?
Thank you, teachers. We appreciate you. I had a quick little visit to East Layton Elementary. It's nice to have our principal, Ms. Lisa Brown, back after a long absence, and she's doing better and back at the school. It was, as has been mentioned, a great visit to Crestview Elementary, and it was Mr. Berkhamshaw that we honored, who's the nighttime custodian, and so they tricked him into coming during the day so that we could honor him, and it was mentioned by all who know him that anytime there's a problem, they go find Mr. Berkhamshaw, and he fixes it. His wife teaches there, and that he treats that school like his own home. And it looked like it. It's just a beautiful school, so that was a great visit, and to go in those classrooms and see the great things going on there. I also enjoyed the Catalyst Center and ribbon cutting there, and the open house, and it's just incredible the opportunities that Davis School District students have because of that center. And just want to thank everyone who had anything to do with that. Superintendent Newey, lots of people in this room, for your vision of that center. And it's just one of the most exciting things that I've been a part of. So thank you for all of that. That will be a great legacy. And we're going to miss you, Kaylee and Trevor. We value your input and wish you good luck, and thank you for all that you've added.
Thank you, Ms. Phipps.
Yeah, I just appreciate, I wanted to echo that for the students. You're really valued, and it's been exciting to me through years of being on the board to see people that have served on as student board reps doing other really important jobs in the state now, and to see them moving on with their leadership. So thank you for your service, and thanks for representing the students so well. I also just have to say something about the Catalyst Center, which is such an exciting thing that we recognize that besides going to university, that there are other ways that people can achieve a high quality job and be receiving the training that they can without necessarily going to a university, that these opportunities are there for them, but also just even being able to use that while they're still teenagers and making money, that having employment that is not just working at fast food places, and being able to become certificated to be able to do some jobs and make serious money doing that. Not that money is the most important thing, but those wonderful opportunities and filling the niche for some students that other more traditional settings for schooling may not be the way that they're interested in school. I think this is a wonderful thing to give opportunities for children, students to learn in many different ways. And I also did want to say something about the Loyola movie that we were able to see. Just a great thing, and I was so appreciative to be able to be there, and the wisdom of us showing that specifically to our coaches and the principals in our schools, because I think some of the people that have as much impact upon students in our schools are those coaches and the principals, and a lot of respect that a lot of students have for some of those very people. So identifying those leaders and watching as we try to improve our relationships and how we deal with each other, and as we deal with people that are that have differences in backgrounds from what we may have grown up with, and how we become respectful of each other in the differences in ourselves and build on those things that we're alike in. And I just really appreciated it. My husband, who serves as a city councilman, he was just impressed that was a great place for us to start again, and building from there, and how other people need to see that movie and how that would impact other people. So I appreciate that. I did want to also just mention that I'm excited this next week. Davis County gets to be the host again of the state PTA convention, which is happening at the Davis Conference Center in Layton, and excited that we have 2 student performing groups that are going to be there. One from Clearfield High on Thursday. They have a jazz ensemble that is performing, and on Wednesday for the opening, Layton High, their orchestra has a group that is performing for that as well. Grateful for the opportunity for our parent leaders to receive training to be more helpful in our schools, and grateful for the work that our leadership in PTA in our school district have done, and that this opportunity is there to have parents be able to be involved in the work of helping children. That's my report.
Thank you. Ms. Mumford?
Yeah, just quickly wanted to echo appreciation for our student board members. Kaylee and Trevor and I started way out here in the outfield at the beginning of the year. So it's fun to see them just build camaraderie and interaction with our board, and their confidence has grown and they've contributed a lot. So thank you so much for that. And my experience at the Catalyst Center this week was a little unique. I saw it through the eyes of my son, and I just saw how powerful it is for our students to be exposed to those different opportunities and to have autonomy and choice and see the relevance of what they're learning in school. So I'm really excited about how that is an opportunity for students across Davis District, and look forward to growth and just continued improvement in that area. Thank you.
That concludes our meeting, Board. We need to go to closed session for the purpose of negotiations, personnel, and property. So motion to that, please.
I move we go into closed meeting for the purpose of negotiations, personnel,
Property.
And property.
property.
I'll second. Oh, go
Motion
ahead.
by Ms. Tanner, second by Ms. Stevenson to go to closed session for the purpose of personnel, negotiations, and property. Ms. Mumford?
Yes.
Ms. Phipps?
Yes.
Ms. Gerard?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
I'm yes. Ms. Tanner?
Yes.
Mr. Eckersley?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all for being with us.
Thank you, Kaylee, Trevor. It's been fun sitting by you.
I was hoping you were